What is happening, guys? This is Drei from the Signet, and today on the Gear Corner, we're going to be taking a look at the Ibarra Plaridel. The packaging is simple, and if you've gotten the Rizal, Ibarra's other watch, you can find it in the iCard above, with the only difference on the white sleeve being the sticker of Ibarra being rectangular on this one and being circular on the older one. The watch box itself is done in this leather type material and is reminiscent of vintage watch boxes. Opening it up, you are greeted with this wonderful sight. I really love the look of it, looks really vintage and also pretty darn premium with all the little details. And as you probably saw, inside the box you will find a little envelope. And inside this envelope you do get a couple of cards. First of which is a black one, and on the back of this you do find Ibarra's social media information. And on the front you do get a message from Ibarra in Filipino or Tagalog. Pause right now if you want to read it. And then you get this kind of translucent paper one with the same message but this time in English, just in case you don't understand Filipino or Tagalog. Now onto the watch itself, the strap is made of calfskin leather with an alligator leather type design, and it is a double-sided leather strap, making it more resistant to deterioration by water, smoke and fumes, and of course, extreme heat and humidity, because you all know how crazy hot it can get here in the Philippines. I like the details on the back of the strap with the Ibarra logo embossed, which I think looks good and really classy. And of course, just like the Rizal, it does say Manila on the buckle, which personally is one of my favorite things about Ibarra watches. The face of the watch, in my opinion, just looks wonderful. The Ibarra logo looking great on here. I of course love the inclusion of the date complication. And the train track and Arabic numerals really gives it that vintage feel, being reminiscent of some pre-1950s classic timepieces. Of course, automatic right here, watch the second-hand sweep. And the hands, I think here are the icing on the cake, really adding to that vintage look that this watch is going for. I personally really like it. The case is 38mm and the gold here is ion plated. Now for those who don't know, ion plating or physical vapor deposition is a coating technology that is used in affordable yet quality timepieces, where it evenly deposits the ions, making it a more effective coating. Now I've had this watch for a few months now, and I can definitely say that the gold plating is holding up really well and is still looking good. The glass, unlike the Rizal, is not sapphire glass, which means it's not necessarily scratch proof, which is unfortunate, but there is a reason for this. As you can see, part of the vintage design for this watch involves it having a high domed crystal, which was commonly used in some vintage dress watches. The glass itself is a Hesalite crystal, which allows it to be more shatter resistant, since a high domed sapphire crystal would be more prone to shattering. Again, not necessarily scratch proof, but I'd rather get a few scratches that I can get buffed out later on as opposed to shattered glass. The crown I think looks great. It just comes together with the overall vintage design of the watch. Personally, I really like it, and I think it's just a great added detail. Now on to arguably one of the most important things in a watch, especially an automatic, the movement. The Plaridel runs on a Miyota 8215 movement, which is a Japanese movement manufactured by Citizen Holdings Co. You get 21,600 beats per hour or 3 Hz, which is the common rate for quality entry-level automatic watches with an accuracy of -20 to +40 seconds per day. It has a 40-hour power reserve and a unidirectional winding system. And for all those wondering, the Plaridel does in fact have manual winding. Overall, I love the vintage design of this watch because I love me some vintage things, and what makes me even more happy about it is that not only does it have really well executed aesthetics, but the movement chosen for it is a fantastic movement for an automatic watch in its price range. Now when it comes to price, depending on who you ask, especially to some who don't really care much about the materials and the movement that was put into this watch, some would view it as a relatively more expensive timepiece, with it coming out at 16,495 Philippine pesos, which is definitely understandable for some. But do remember that this is an automatic watch with one of the best movements for entry-level automatic watches, so you definitely are paying for quality here. And of course, more seasoned watch enthusiasts would know that there are in fact other wonderful entry-level automatic watches that do run a little cheaper than the Plaridel. Like for example the Seiko SKX, which I actually recently acquired for around 14,000 Philippine pesos, although I did get it at 10% off. I have the SKX 009 with the Pepsi bezel and I love it. So much so that it's currently my favorite watch in my collection. But aesthetic wise and generally watch wise, these are two different types of watches. The Plaridel is a dress watch while the SKX is a diver. But of course, there are also other great affordable automatic dress watch options. In fact, another one from Seiko would be the Seiko 5, which I personally do want, but I have still yet to get. And in fact, as of a recent price check, the Seiko 5 that I wanted does run for around 5,000 pesos. Of course, it does have a different movement. It actually doesn't have manual winding, but again, it definitely is an affordable option. And even then, they are both automatic dress watches, but aesthetically, they are still two very different watches. Again, with the Plaridel being a more vintage style watch design, which I just absolutely love. The Plaridel has a wonderfully executed vintage timepiece aesthetic, with Ibarra focusing on every little detail to accomplish this set aesthetic the best way that they can, showing good quality from the numerals to the design of the hands, the high domed glass, and the gold ion plating. Now, for those who do like the aesthetics of this watch but isn't really much of a fan of the gold color, it does come in a silver version, which I think still looks really good, and it actually does run a little cheaper than the gold one at 15,995 pesos. I think that Ibarra is doing a great job for bringing to us a homegrown watch brand that not only looks great, but is also great quality at a relatively affordable price. I think that it's fantastic that there are a lot of great quality local brands coming up nowadays, and I think that us Filipinos should start supporting these brands, and if you already do, then continue supporting these brands and help them grow. In fact, the president of the Philippines, when seen wearing an Ibarra watch and asked by the press about it, said something along the lines of, if even we don't support our local brands, then who will? So the Plaridel, should you get it? I've laid out the facts. I think it's a great quality watch, especially at its price point. So if it's within your budget and you're looking for a nice vintage style watch, then I definitely highly recommend it. So that about does it for today's Gear Corner. If you liked the video, then do give it a thumbs up. If you have any comments or questions, or if there's anything you want me to review or do a video on, I would love to hear from you guys in the comment section below. Of course, if you haven't yet, then definitely do subscribe to be updated with my new videos. Do share this video to your friends, your family, and whoever you think would like my content. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys in the next one.